All right, everybody. It's been a very busy weekend, and Critics' Choice Awards just wrapped up here just a few minutes ago. And I guess we'll start out by saying it's a good weekend for Power of the Dog. Absolutely. They took home the best film prizes both at Bafta and here at Critics' Choice tonight. And Jane Campion also took Best Director at those two awards, and also won the DGA for Outstanding Director this year for that prize. So that's basically the equivalent there of a Best Picture from DGA. So, yeah, I guess real quick before we get into who won at different places and stuff like that, it's been a weird weekend for me. Just there's been some high points, like I don't have the Iowa shirt on, but Iowa winning Big Ten conference was great. We're seeing a lot of colleges, conferences and stuff that were all wrapped up, and today was Selection Sunday. So even if you guys don't care, and it was probably my least viewed video last year, I'm going to do it again tomorrow night for March Madness picks. So look forward to that, or look forward to skipping that, whatever you want to do. And yeah, so there was a lot of high points there, and overall, I guess I'm doing okay at predictions this year. Let's see, but obviously, along the way, there's ones I'm going to get wrong, of course. But today was not a great day, though. I think for a couple of things. Number one, I wanted to mention because I was working most of the day, so I guess it only happened here a few hours ago. But to hear that William Hurt passed away was really sad. And the guy, even though he was only 71 years old, he feels like he's been around a while, and he's definitely one of those actors who brings gravitas to every role and everything. And obviously some of the first films I saw him in were some of the Marvel projects and stuff. But if you go back and look to Kiss of the Spider-Woman, or especially Broadcast News, he's so good in that. And I haven't seen it, but Children of a Lesser God is another one I know everybody likes. So he and Marlee Matlin are both nominated for that. Marlee, of course, won for the Oscar there. So yeah, and he was nominated, I believe, one more time for History of Violence as well. I haven't seen that one, but yeah, it was a great career for him, and unfortunately, I think there was a lot of other great projects that he could have had going forward. So I know he's one we're definitely going to miss. We've also heard former President Obama has COVID, so I wanted to bring attention to that and say, look, I know we're all feeling good right now and everything, and COVID numbers, especially in the U.S., have been dropping as of late, as expected, now that Omicron has kind of cycled through for the most part. But just remember, just be careful out there, guys. It's, like we've seen with this pandemic thing, it's like, okay, it kind of has ebbs and flows and stuff, and it comes back once in a while, so... just stay alert out there and everything. And of course, probably the worst news to come out of this weekend, and this is late breaking as of about an hour or two ago. Yes, after about 25 minutes, he changed his mind and Tom Brady is coming back to the NFL. So our hearts and prayers go out to everybody who has to play him next year and potentially in the years after. All right, that's my joke for that. But no, and of course, obviously, of course, we want to think about Ukraine, of course, and everything that is still going on there, and how the situation doesn't really seem to be heading in the right direction by any means. And really, a totally peaceful solution really seems like it's each day becoming more and more something that's going to be off the table. So, yeah, in light of all this stuff, I wanted to kind of talk about everything else going on, just so we mention it and stuff, and kind of bring the mood down, of course, before we get into the awards season here. No, of course, but still, yeah. So yeah, it's a busy weekend and everything. So on top of it, now we get to all the stuff happening awards wise here. So yeah, I guess really quick we'll run over BAFTA first, because I think. A lot of these, I just kind of read the awards list of winners after it had happened there. Like I said, I was pretty busy during the day here. So, yeah, as expected, yeah, there were a few categories that were kind of easy to predict, and other ones that were not easy to predict, and that definitely are potentially going to throw a couple twists and turns going forward. Let's see. So I think BAFTA, the biggest thing here is we do have... as I mentioned, Power of the Dog won for film, but it also won for director, and that was it for Power of the Dog. I kind of expected that one to do a little bit better here. Let's see what else here. Coda took home 2 wins for supporting actor and also for adapted screenplay, so that was a little bit of a surprise there. West Side Story also captured 2 wins with casting and with supporting actress for Ariana DeBose. No surprise on that one. Let's see. Otherwise, I think Dune was the only other multiple winner here, I think. And that one ended up taking the most prizes with 5. So that one real quick, it was visual effects, sound, production design, score, and cinematography. And with that, I guess we'll kind of work our way down from film all the way down here and everything. But I think almost everyone had Power of the Dog for film and for director, especially the director category. I think we've known for a while Jane Campion pretty much has her name on that category. And I don't really see anything that's gonna change that here in the coming 2 weeks before the Oscars. Now, for Best Film, I was thinking, because after I saw, the first takeaway I had, actually, when I read the list of winners here, was a little bit of surprise with Coda winning for Screenplay. I thought, and as we're coming forward here, we've got a little bit of time left, but Power of the Dog just seems like a natural winner there, because then it can take Screenplay, Director, Picture, at least, if it's not going to take a tech category, or potentially still surprise us in one of the acting categories. But, that would be, that would make it a 4... potentially a 5-win film, which, 5 wins, we haven't seen that in a while, not since The Artist, for Best Picture winner with multiple wins, up to 5. 4, we had Parasite and Shape of Water in recent years, but more recently it's been 3. So like Green Book, Moonlight, and Nomadland last year all took 3. So, and that was the other thing too. I thought about it, I'm like, well, Coda, if it actually ends up, because it's pretty much the winner we know, or very likely to be the winner also at the Writers Guild, and then it's win here at Bafta, I was like, well, shit, well, maybe it can win Screenplay, Supporting Actor. What if it takes the Producers Guild? What if it takes the Critics' Choice tonight? I was like, wow, this turn could be happening. But then they slammed the door on that with Power of the Dog winning both. Film at BAFTA and also at Critics' Choice. So I don't know. I don't want to say it's 100% over for Coda. I think if it still comes back and wins the Producers Guild, that's a big thing. And a Writers Guild the same weekend is a really big thing, and that's right as voting comes to a close. So again, some of the voters who I think kind of get that last second thought in there when they get to who they're voting for. If they were late to the game on Power of the Dog, or if they saw it and they were like, it's okay, or if they felt, like we mentioned last time, like Sam Elliott felt on it, okay, yeah, maybe then they would look for something else, and maybe something like Coda would be more up their alley, I don't know. But definitely that was, some thinking there. So, again, I don't think it's 100% over for Coda, but especially after its 2 wins at BAFTA there, I was like, okay, maybe this is not over. The Screen Actors Guild win was big. And kind of shuffles things as far as the lineup for, who's more likely now to, take home Best Picture if it's not Power of the Dog. What's going to take it down? And it was like Coda almost seems to shoot up the list there more and more now as time goes on. Let's see here. But, again, for now, I'm not willing to bet on it yet. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, I could be 100% proven wrong on that in the next week when PGA comes out. But for now, that's going to be the ultimate, the kind of final test there. Because if Power of the Dog can still win there, and again, PGA was a place where Roma kind of started hitting the skids a little bit, and obviously it rebounded there afterwards, like a BAFTA. I believe DGA was after Producers Guild that year, and it seemed to be back on track at that point. But that's going to be kind of a final test there before we know for sure if Power of the Dog is, the solid front runner, or if it's maybe still vulnerable. Speaking of which, in Best Actor, the sweep factor is in, I think, for Will Smith. The fact that he was able to take down Cumberbatch here today, I think everybody's on board with Will Smith winning now. So 100% that's going to happen. It's going to be very, very difficult for Benedict or anyone else, like Andrew Garfield, for example, to come back and win now. So Will Smith going forward, 100%. Joanna Scanlon was our kind of surprise winner for Best Actress today. And of course, that's in a category where we don't have any carryovers going forward at the Oscars. So I think Lady Gaga was the only one, and Elaine Haim, actually. Both of them were nominated tonight at Critics' Choice. But, yeah, we knew it was very likely that neither one of them was going to be crowned the winner there. So, yeah, so I guess that doesn't, obviously it doesn't hurt or help anybody at the Oscars, but, well, aside, I think the only thing that it could have helped Coda overall if it had picked up Best Actress, I guess, and it maybe would have helped Licorice Pizza a little bit with just showing how much broad support both those films have, but, yeah, so that was that one. We mentioned Troy Kotsur for Coda winning there. Especially after this and the win at Critics' Choice, I really think he's on track now. It's going to be a big surprise if Cody comes back and wins now for Power of the Dog. Even though, what was it? Not even a month ago, we were all thinking he had it in the bag, and now it's again totally flipped here. Ariana DeBose was our winner here for Supporting Actress for West Side Story, and again, no surprise there. I think she's going to take the rest in a cakewalk. Original screenplay did go to Licorice Pizza. I was incorrect on this. I had Belfast. So yeah, I think this screenplay, or especially an original, well, actually both. I think both screenplay categories are really a question mark for the rest of the season, because there's a good chance, or at least a possibility, that our winners at WGA both are not going to carry over to the Oscars. There's a chance of that. And it's going to be really, really difficult, I think, to get these going forward, because Coda won here today. Power of the Dog went on to win at Critics' Choice tonight. So that's kind of a puzzler there. And then, like we said, Coda is almost the preordained winner, we would think, at WGA. Now, of course, they could throw a loop in there, and they could all of a sudden, it could be anybody else. They could give it to West Side Story or something, just to kind of screw with us. But, they kind of did that here a few years ago with 8th Grade. When they really could have clarified on the screenplay race that year, they went with the only one that was not nominated at the Oscars, as I recall. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. But, in a case like that, they will march to the beat of their own drum. So, so it's both of these, I think, there's going to be some plate spinning and stuff for who we want to pick. And definitely, I think there's a case where, again, it's going to be like it was here a few years ago in the screenplay categories, where it's like, maybe less so on the adapted side that year. I was thinking of 2018, which was the 8th Grade year, when that won a DGA, because a lot of us were between, The Favorite, which had just won a BAFTA, or me, I picked First Reformed as kind of an outsider pick there. A couple people still stuck with Green Book after it had won at Golden Globes, rather. And, so that one was all up in the air that year, and it was like a really weird thing, So Licorice Pizza won here. Then we had Belfast actually win at Critics' Choice, so I had those two flipped. But and Belfast was our winner at the Globes as well. So and Belfast is not eligible at WGA. As we mentioned, Power of the Dog is not eligible at WGA. So those two could go on to win their respective categories, and we could have Licorice Pizza and Coda, or something else for original screenplay win at WGA next week. So, I'm not sure. At least for Licorice Pizza here, it did have the director nomination, that's true. It did not have a director nomination at Critics' Choice tonight. So, the fact that both Belfast and Licorice Pizza both have the director's nomination at the Oscars, that doesn't really help us this time, does it? No. So that's going to be really, really tough. And again, if I recall correctly, the screenplay categories are like the tech categories at the Oscars, where the screenwriter's name is not necessarily on the ballot. So it's up to the voters to recognize, Paul Thomas Anderson, PTA, does not have an Oscar win yet. So is this his time, or are we going to give it to him for something else down the line, maybe? Kenneth Branagh also, I believe, unless he won for I'm trying to think here. Did he win that year when he was up for the short category? No, he also does not have an Oscar win either. I don't know if we necessarily need to handicap it to just those two in the screenplay category, because Don't Look Up is still in there. King Richard is in there. Both of them have picture nominations. And, I don't know. Unless one of them sneaks up on Licorice Pizza and does win at WGA, which I don't necessarily see coming. Yeah, that would even throw even more mystery on it. But Licorice Pizza and Belfast, though, again, are both up for director, and those other two are not. So, yeah, that's gonna be strange, and definitely, I think a lot of us are gonna get that wrong if you go with one when it's the other and stuff, so on and so forth. Let's see, in the adapted category, like I mentioned here at BAFTA, it is Coda over Power of the Dog. So yeah, I think that one is the one to upset at the Oscars, I think, if it's not Power of the Dog, but again, I gotta go with that rule of screenplay where it's like, okay, again, with our exceptions of Nomadland and Shape of Water recently, whoever wins screenplay, one of those two is going to win Best Picture. That's the way it's gone for several years now, again, with those two exceptions. So again, I think that's why I'm going to stick with Power of the Dog in that category, because unless we see some more shifting here in the next few weeks, I don't see Power of the Dog losing too much steam there. Let's see. Oh, I skipped our British film did go to Belfast, so that was the one. Yeah, that almost everyone I think had. That was a for sure thing. I think casting went to West Side Story. I got that one right. See, otherwise in the feature categories, animated feature went to Encanto. We'll talk about it with Critics' Choice because that was a little bit different. And Annie Awards also went with Mitchell versus the Machines, which is what Critics' Choice went with. Summer of Soul won for documentary. Seems like it's the favorite, but I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it because I feel like that's one that could kind of be the front runner and then something else wins. It could happen. Let's see, for film not in English language, Drive My Car won. And again, we all expect that one to just carry through for the rest of the season there. Okay, let's go to the tech categories now. Cinematography was Dune, no surprise there. Costume design for Cruella, again, no surprise. The editing category, this was a surprise. No Time to Die came through. So, sorry as I spit all over my screen. Yeah, I'm beginning to get the sense that this editing category is really screwed up. I mean, I really am not 100% sure what to do with this category going forward because No Time to Die won here. It's not nominated at the Oscars. King Richard won at the Ace Eddie Awards. That is nominated, but it doesn't really seem to be a front runner in that category. And then tonight here at Critics' Choice, they gave it to West Side Story, which, like 1917, was not nominated at the Oscars. So that's another example. I think we talked a little bit about it last time, where it's like that editing winner does not always carry over. So, wow, I am not really sure what to do with that category now. Because it could end up, Tick Tick Boom was our comedy musical editing winner at Ace Eddie. That is nominated at the Oscars. So, I don't know. Just the fact that Dune is not just automatically picking these up, I thought, is a kind of a sign that, okay, maybe there is going to be a little bit more diversity when we get to some of these winners here in the tech categories. Because like we saw here at BAFTA, the next category we would talk about here, just from the lineup I have, is Eyes of Tammy Faye, which came through and won for makeup. I originally had it, and I remember I made a point in my brain up here, which quickly went away when I live switched to Dune during the predictions video. But I remember I was like, well, think about Vice. Remember Vice? It wasn't a super popular pick at BAFTA that year. Didn't get like a film nomination. I believe it missed out on one or two other categories as well. But that one still won for makeup over there at BAFTA. And like Eyes of Tammy Faye, this was the only nomination it had at BAFTA. Still came through and won. And especially with Jessica Chastain after her win here at Critics' Choice tonight, seems to be more and more solid for our winner at the Oscars for Best Actress. This, like we've mentioned a couple times, this is Darkest Hour, this is Iron Lady, all over again. Amadeus, another example. I'm sure there's more, but yeah. So yeah, it just feels like this is the kind of that pairing up that's going to happen there. So yeah, back to the editing category though. I really don't know what to do because Dune again. It seems like it's got a few of these in the bag for the tech categories, but other ones, it could be a little mistaken here. We could be just kind of going with it by default when it's going to be something else. Let's see here. So so I've still got to think about that one a little bit. Original score went to Dune. not a giant surprise there by any means. It seems like that one, again, is kind of by default right now. Production design is Dune, so I think my hopes and aspirations of Nightmare Alley winning there are pretty much, I mean, I don't want to say 100% gone, because part of me thinks as soon as I switch off from that, all of a sudden it's going to win, but who knows. Let's see here. The sound category also went to Dune. Visual effects also went to Dune. Those two were a little less surprising. And again, I think going forward, both of those will carry over. And our EE Rising Star Award was Lashana Lynch, so that's the first time in a little while I've gotten that category right, because most of the time I'll just pick the one who sounds right, but is ended up not awarded. Let's see. I can't remember who I went with last year. I go with Morphic Clark, or did I go with Bucky McCrae? I can't remember. Maybe I did get that one right. I went Aquafina, I remember, a couple years ago, and it wasn't her. Boy, yeah, I can't even remember some of these. Oh boy, doesn't matter. But anyways, with that all being said, Dune, I think we did recap. Yeah, has the 5, which is the most wins of the night over there at Bafta. So so I guess we'll move on to the Critics' Choice winners as well here. So we mentioned, Power of the Dog taking picture and director as well over here. Not a giant surprise by any means. The 4 actors who won at SAG repeated here, so that's Will Smith, Jessica Chastain, Troy Kotsur, and Ariana DeBose in all their respective categories. And again, like we saw at SAG, and like I was thinking afterwards, I'm like, you know what, it might just be those 4. And after they've all been solidified here at Critics' Choice, I really don't see any reason to think otherwise that, when we get to the Oscars, that it's not going to be these 4. And I'll tell you what, I think there is, if anything, maybe a little bit of suspense still left in the lead actress and supporting actor categories. Like, if any one of these gets incorrect, I think it's going to be either one of those two. Will Smith and Ariana DeBose, I think, are really safe. Again, nobody seems to be able to challenge them in any of their respective races at all. So those two, I think, are just done. In actress, I still want to say there's a small hope for either Olivia Colman or possibly for Nicole Kidman as well, because I think both of them are in that kind of status where it's like, okay, we wouldn't mind seeing them win a second Oscar. But overall, since neither of them are in Best Picture nominees, that's also true for Jessica Chastain, of course, but especially those two, it doesn't seem like there's an obvious place to award the film. With Eyes of Tammy Faye, with the makeup and everything seeming to link up, I don't really see that one changing. But just on the very off chance that is Olivia Colman actually maybe coming back for her second surprise win, we'll see. But I just want to mention it just in case it does happen. And then on Best Supporting Actor, again, I would still be a little bit fearful of Cody Smith-McPhee here, just in case the old rule that sometimes still carries over, not always, but sometimes carries over, where you have an acting winner come alongside you for Best Picture. I mean, we saw it last year with Nomadland, and that was in a kind of surprise, small surprise, I'll say, because Frances had just won at BAFTA, so we knew she was definitely in the running there, but it was really, a really mixed up category last year. Let's see, then we had, he wasn't an unexpected winner either time, but Mahershala Ali picked up acting wins for both Moonlight and for Green Book. Let's see, then we had the last one I think was before that. We have to go back to Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave, and again, that one, it was more or less a toss-up. I went on the wrong side of the toss-up with Jennifer Lawrence that year, but yeah. So I think since we just had one last year, I can see Troy just winning this. Again, he's got the momentum right now, and even though Cody did take a lot of critics' prizes early, and he took the Globe early, and it seemed like he was, very much untouchable in this category for a little while for some people, I never 100% bought into it. I did predict him for a little bit, that's true, but that was kind of just like, because I just didn't get the sense that Troy's film, it was liked, but I didn't get the sense it was loved. Then after SAG, when it got the Ensemble prize and Ensemble nomination and a nomination for him, and Power of the Dog was left off Ensemble, then I was like, then after a little while I thought about it, I was like, okay, maybe. That could be a turning point. Now, I had mentioned it, I didn't have the guts to stick with it, but yeah. So, so I just want to mention that just in case it does come true later. But right now, I would say Troy probably has it in a pretty good bet there. Okay, then we mentioned the screenplay categories here. It is Belfast for Kenneth Branagh and Jane Campion for Power of the Dog in their categories there. So, yeah. And that's the other thing, like I had mentioned last time too with Belfast, just because it has what is it, twice more than double the nominations of Licorice Pizza, which is a good sign that yeah, there are going to be some tech people that maybe liked Belfast because they did nominate it in the song and in the sound categories. That could push it over the edge over Licorice Pizza for the win there. Yeah, so I'm still not sure 100% on what to do with that, but yeah, if Belfast had won at BAFTA today, yeah, then I think we'd be in really good shape, and I think it would be kind of more obvious, but it's still left in suspense right now. And yeah, with Jane Campion, Power of the Dog, again, it doesn't really seem like way too many people had a problem here with her winning both director and screenplay, which yeah. Now Sean Heder, on the other hand, I believe is I thought I looked this up once, but now I can't remember. She is not a producer on the film. That's right. So on the weird circumstance, if all of a sudden if Coda does come back to win picture, and they go with Power of the Dog for screenplay, Sean Heder, the director, does not get any Oscar wins that night. Now she might accept and give a speech on behalf of the film for Best Picture if it happened to come through, but that might be deceptive because she is not a producer on the film. So. But yeah, like I said, in this case, it doesn't really seem like too many people are like upset about her winning multiple Oscars potentially the same night. So let's see here. Real quick, we'll go to Ensemble. This one I had wrong. They went with Belfast, which yeah, I don't know. I guess Critics' Choice liked Belfast quite a bit. It also picked up, not that it counts or carries over anywhere else, but Jude Hill won for Best Younger Actor. So. I don't know. I guess they ended up, if you count that one, it won 3, which again I don't really count that one because it doesn't really mean way too much going forward. Let's see, but yeah. Otherwise, still 2 wins though in the categories that I'll count, which is ensemble and in screenplay. That's still a couple of good votes for it and everything. And Belfast, if you again go by just the Rotten Tomatoes meter thing. It's on the same level, I believe, as like Dune, which is like mid-80s on Rotten Tomatoes. So there's still a couple of critics that didn't enjoy it, but it winning screenplay and ensemble still means it's got some fans out there. So I think in that regard, we've also seen Licorice Pizza go down. I think it was only nominated 3 or 4 times here. It did win, and again, this is not an official category that I like to count, but comedy film. They did go with Licorice Pizza there, but. No, I still say in the major categories it didn't get any wins. So let's see. We'll move on to the tech categories here. Cinematography. This was a surprise winner. Ari Wagner, or Wagner. I'm not sure if it's Wag or Wagner for Power of the Dog. That was a bit of an surprise winner there. So yeah, still I think the cinematographer's goat. I think they're going to go with Dune. I would imagine they do. Now sometimes they'll get it wrong. Like. Last year, I believe. Actually, no. Last year they got it right with Messerschmitt, right, for Mank. Let's see. That is next week, I believe. I was going to look up some of the previous winners because obviously the example I always go to is like Roma, because the Cinematographers Guild didn't even nominate Roma that year, and Roma was sweeping everything for cinematography that year. So I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily like a big like, oops, Dune is now on shaky ground or whatever. The sand is sneaking out from under it or whatever. No, I still think Dune. I don't know. I just don't see that one losing. Now, if it loses next week at the Cinematographers Guild and they go with Power of the Dog, okay, then maybe we'll see an argument there. But for right now, no, I'm still going Dune. Editing, like we mentioned, goes to West Side Story, which is not very helpful determining this. But then again, you look at it and it's like, okay, well, in that category, you only had Dune and Power of the Dog that did carry over for the editing category. And, yeah, so again, that really leaves some suspense with where they're going to go at the Oscars. Costume design was Cruella. Again, no surprise there. Production design was Dune. Score was Dune. Best song went to No Time to Die. So I don't know. I almost feel like, yeah, I almost feel like, okay, now by default, it seems like that's the one that everybody's just picking. There's maybe a little bit too much infighting between Be Alive, Dos Orugatas. I'm trying to think what else was up there. Those two, I think, are the only other ones that carried over from just about everywhere for song this year. But maybe there is a little bit too much and just go with the Bond song by default, which again is rare because the last two have won, and if you go back through the 20 whatever films before that, 22, none of them had won for song. So makeup, we mentioned, went to Eyes of Tammy Faye. Visual effects also was a win for Dune. International film went to Drive My Car, and animated feature went to Mitchell versus the Machines, which was kind of a surprise for this year at the Annie Awards, which ended up picking up... Let's see. This is, if I'm reading this right, it swept every category it was nominated for. So, yeah, they did not care for Encanto very much. Well, let's see here. It got, well, let's see, one... Still picked up a couple wins here, at least, from what I'm seeing here. 3 wins. But yeah, Mitchell's vs. the Machines had 8 nominations and 8 wins, so they really liked it. And it did win here again at Critics' Choice here today. But that being said, I don't know. This might be kind of like, remember a couple of years ago, Klaus. We all kind of started to fall into that trap, and it ended up being the more widely seen, Disney-released, partial Disney-released Toy Story 4. So in that case, yeah, I'm going to stick by Encanto right now. And if I might just end up getting that one wrong if they do go with Mitchell's versus the Machines. And again, that's another case because that's, I believe, from the partially from Phil Lord, Chris Miller, whose Lego movies have really been underappreciated by the Oscars, and they had a part in Spider-Verse, so it's not like they've been totally completely abandoned when it comes to the Academy Awards, but. I think if there was more of a groundswell of that, I think there'd be maybe a little bit more of an argument for that, but. Yeah, just for now, I'd say, yeah, stick with Encanto. All right, so, like we were talking about here, I guess real quick we'll wrap up with, do any of these wins change, like majorly change anything? Right now, I want to say not really. There's definitely some categories that now feel a little bit more in flux, like the 2 screenplay categories, the editing category for sure. And I would say probably those 3 are the ones I would prioritize right now as like the most worrisome. On a second tier of ones where it's like, okay, there might be a little bit more room for potential upsets. I think Best Picture would fall maybe into a second tier like that where it's like, okay, Power of the Dog is out front, pretty clearly, but there's still a chance that a couple things could go against it here in the next week. Definitely, if Coda comes on strong and wins at Producers Guild and WGA in the same weekend, right as voting is coming to an end, and again, if some people are late to the party on that film or on Power of the Dog, and they find one maybe better than they expected and one worse than they expected, that could change a little bit. Let's see, otherwise, I don't know what else I would put in a second tier, because it's like, I don't even want to say cinematography yet, because I think we need to see one more example of Dune losing that one and it going to Power of the Dog at say, say the Cinematographers Guild. Otherwise, potentially I would put in that second tier maybe something like the song category, because No Time to Die. Again, I'm not doubting it. I don't think it's a terrible song by any means or anything but like that. But I don't know. I just feel like it's such a category where it's like, okay, there's a lot of passion for other stuff, kind of like I was talking about last time with the adapted screenplay category, where, okay, is some of that passion going to, strike itself out like it did at, tonight here with song and potentially with adapted screenplay. But it turned out it didn't really hurt that much with Coda when it came to the adapted screenplay category at Bafta, though. And yeah, overall, I think for BAFTA, Coda was one. It was like, that we liked it okay. We didn't give it a film nomination. We gave it an actress nomination. We gave it a screenplay nomination and supporting actor. I believe that was the only 3 it got. But yeah, just the 3 nominations there. But still, The fact that it won two of those, two out of the three, man, that does kind of make you think, okay, well, maybe, just maybe. But again, I would put it in a second tier kind of level right now, because I need to see more evidence of Power of the Dog, losing some momentum, losing some steam. And after film wins, both at Bafta, now it's true, at Bafta, they couldn't have gone with Coda in the film category because it wasn't nominated. But, the fact that it still won here tonight at Critics' Choice as well, yeah, that's not a sign for me that it's losing steam, kind of like Nomadland last year. Let's see here. I mentioned, again, I probably should have known better, but yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal did win last night for DGA as well for First Time Director, which, again, I just had a weird theory about that one going to Lin-Manuel Miranda, but yep, that was maybe a more obvious one that I just overlooked, and, picked the wrong upset on that one, but that happens. That happens. You got to take those shots once in a while. All right. I guess that's kind of it right now. I guess really quick, I guess I can say, okay, with those the three categories that I'm most worried about, editing, screenplay, and editing in the two screenplay categories. After this weekend, what am I thinking? First thoughts. In the screenplay category for adapted, I think that's the one I'm the most confident on. I'm going to stick with Power of the Dog. And again, I think that might be one I'm going to stick with, even after Coda does presumably win at WGA next weekend. And I think it's going to have to be like Green Book. I'm just going to have to get that one wrong and just get the whole sense of it wrong if Coda does end up coming back to win Best Picture. And it would be a little strange, I think, though, if Campion wins for directing. She is, I believe, a producer on the film as well for Power of the Dog. It'd be weird to see it, like it did here at Critics' Choice, just win director and just win picture. That is a little strange to me. And it could end up actually kind of like what we thought Nomadland was going to do last year, which was director, film, and cinematography, when it ended up only getting director and picture, but also picked up Frances McDormand. So, yeah, we'll see if maybe the inverse of what I thought would happen last year, happens this year. You get it. So, yeah, I think that's the case on that one. With editing, boy, I am not sure. I feel like there's an argument to be made that the category is so mixed up, and traditionally your editing winner goes along for the ride for Best Picture. I can see an argument now that Power of the Dog could just win by default, and then that could get it to 4 without an acting win, or without cinematography in case that one happens to repeat after a win there at the Cinematographers Guild next week if it happens. So we're looking at screenplay, editing, director, picture. That would make sense. So that would make sense. I think that Dune, again, if it's in that kind of Gravity or Mad Max type situation where it ends up doing maybe better at the Oscars than it has so far. Now, keep in mind, I had Dune. I had Dune winning 7 BAFTAs. It won 5. And I believe I had it winning, I'm going to triple check here, Critics' Choice. How many did I have it winning again? Let's see here. Here we go. I had it winning in cinematography. I had it winning in editing, score, and visual effects. I had it winning 4. It won at Critics' Choice 3? I believe 3. Yeah, because it took home the visual effects category, production design, and took home score. So by both those metrics, it is disappointing, for my expectations at least, for the number of tech category wins. So again, that maybe suggests, okay, it's not just the default winner when it comes to a lot of those tech categories. So that leaves a little bit more suspense there. Now, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have the balls to predict King Richard or Tick Tick Boom in that category. I mean, those would be really outside winners, kind of going back to like something like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo winning. Though weird, because we mentioned that one. That one did not win at Ace Eddie. And again, keep in mind some of our Ace Eddie winners don't always repeat. So I'm like, that rule, it just doesn't feel like it would make sense. So I think right now, if I had to change it, I might go with Power of the Dog in that category. Yeah, I might just say, okay, by default, because we're so mixed on this category, go with somebody who hasn't won yet. Go with Power of the Dog. Could be. Let's see. And then in the original screenplay category, you know what? I think just the sheer number of nominations and everything, I think I got to give it to Belfast and Kenneth Branagh, and I think they pass up PTA again. Now, I might change that because I think I will make that switch tonight. But, yeah, I think... I don't know. Something just tells me, to go with Belfast there. So, yeah. So I think I'll make those changes here tonight for those two categories, for editing and for original screenplay for the Oscars. So, yeah. Now, again, I know that's going to be strange because Power of the Dog did not win for Ace Eddie. Belfast is not eligible at WGA. So it's like, yeah, you don't really have a guild to back up the argument there. But, yeah. Otherwise, the only other one that we haven't mentioned yet for the editing category that's still nominated here that I'm not picking is Don't Look Up. But I think Don't Look Up just seems like it's going to go over 4. There's just, again, like a couple of the other films here, there's just not really an obvious place to give it a win. So, yeah, I think we got to go with that one there. Kind of like a Nightmare Alley or I'm trying to think what else here. Probably I think those two... Are those two the only ones right now, other than maybe Licorice Pizza or maybe Belfast, one of the two, where it's like, okay, it seems like they're the Best Picture nominees that aren't going to go home with anything? Because traditionally we've seen that happen. Let's see here. At least one film goes home totally empty-handed here. I guess real quick, let's go through the last couple of years here just to kind of refresh our memory on that. Okay, so... yeah, for films this year where that could be the circumstance, Don't Look Up for sure. I think there's a chance, Nightmare Alley and Licorice Pizza or Belfast. I don't know if there's a scenario where all 4 of those go home empty-handed, but it could be. Last year, I think the only one that didn't win anything was Trial of Chicago 7. The year before, the only one was The Irishman. 2018, I believe, every film won something, right? Green Book, yep, that won 3. Black Panther won 3 or 4. Or maybe it was just the 2. Black Klansman won 1. Bohemian Rhapsody won 4. The Favorite won 1. Roma won 3. Star is Born won 1. And Vice won 1. Okay. Let's see, in 2017, Lady Bird did not pick up anything. Phantom Thread, I don't believe, picked up anything. The Post did not pick up anything. 2016, we saw Hell or High Water go home empty-handed. Hidden Figures did not win anything. And Lion, I believe, did not win anything. 2015, Bridge of Spies did win Supporting Actor, that's right. Brooklyn did not win anything. The Martian, I believe, did not win anything. 2014, we saw, I believe, all those won, I believe, something, right? Birdman won a couple. American Sniper won one of the editing, or a sound editing category, I should say. Boyhood won for supporting actress. Grand Budapest Hotel had 3 or 4 wins. Imitation Game had screenplay. Selma had song. Theory of Everything had actor. And Whiplash had a couple of awards there. Okay, otherwise, American Hustle was our last, huge loser, other than probably The Irishman. That one went, like Irishman, went 0 for 10. Captain Phillips didn't win anything. And then I believe Nebraska didn't win anything. Philomena didn't win anything. And Wolf of Wall Street did not win anything, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, half of them went home empty-handed that year, if I'm remembering correctly. Boy, that does not sound right. Wow, I got to look through that. Okay. Well, that was the year we had Gravity win a whole bunch of the tech categories and stuff. So her only won the one for screenplay. Dallas Buyers Club had 3 wins. 12 Years a Slave had 3 wins. Gravity had 7 or something ridiculous like that. Let's see here. Otherwise, yeah, that was it. Yeah, half of them went home empty-handed. I shouldn't say half. It was 5 out of 9 of them went home empty-handed. Okay, real fast, 2012. We'll end with that one. Okay, that year, Beasts of the Southern Wild didn't win anything. And I think that was it. That was the only one that year. So, usually in these years, I mean, with a couple of exceptions now and again, yeah, at least one of the Best Picture nominees is going to go home empty-handed. This year we could have, again, two or three, I think. Two, I would say, are pretty primed to do it. I think that's Don't Look Up, and I think that's Nightmare Alley. Both of those, I just don't think there's a very obvious place. Again, with the exception, maybe Nightmare Alley, if it all of a sudden comes back and wins production design, which I don't think it will. There's really no prime place for them to win and kind of rest on that. Versus West Side Story, Best Supporting Actress for sure. King Richard, at least Best Actor. Drive My Car, International Film. Coda, at least for now, Supporting Actor. Now it could take home one or two more. It could just be that one. Belfast, we're shaky on it, but maybe Screenplay. Licorice Pizza, shaky on it, probably original screenplay is its only shot. Then Dune and Power of the Dog right now. At least those two look like they've got multiple wins coming. So, all right, okay. I think that's enough for me right now. So I'll go ahead. I'll make a couple of those switches here, and I will, unless I totally space it or I run out of time tomorrow, I will come back and we'll figure out what I'm doing for March Madness. I've got. I actually did go ahead and I did one bracket. It's kind of like my first reactions bracket. So, I mean, some of those could be like that kind of first feeling you get sometimes, and it's like, oh, some of those turn out right. Other ones, you look back, you're like, why would I ever think that? So it's, and of course it's March Madness, so it's always a big mystery and everything. So, all right, let's wrap it up. That's enough for today, and we will be back for Oscar talk probably. Gotta look again because we'll let probably okay, I guess really quick, let me go ahead, I'll just lay down that Producers Guild, I'm just going to go with Power of the Dog right now, and I'll again let myself be upset by something like Coda winning there. WGA, we will go with probably, again, the two I was expecting there, Coda and Licorice Pizza winning there. And afterwards we'll catch up on the last of the guilds, including the Cinematographers Guild, which again seems like, okay, if it's not going to be Dune, that could be a prime place for something like Power of the Dog to upset. But again, we'll see, because it might be just this is the one time they go with Power of the Dog for cinematography this year was tonight at Critics' Choice. Could be. But and I guess Producers Guild is going to be next Saturday, and the Cinematographers Guild is going to be Sunday of next week. Writers Guild also Sunday. So I think we'll wrap up with those guild winners respectively next weekend, probably after the whichever one comes first or last. I mean, probably the Writers Guild would be the last one there next week. But as soon as that one is wrapped up and the winners are announced, I think we'll come back and quickly discuss that, and then sometime that next week we're going to make final Oscar predictions and hope they stick. And that's all I got.